It's a common sight among the rolling hills of West Virginia, and increasingly, so is this. Gas exploration and development is on the rise in West Virginia, and the Marcellus Shale formation found under much of the state is what is getting all the attention these days.
It's been known that the Marcellus contained gas in the past, and there are wells that have drilled through the Marcellus and some wells that have even produced from the Marcellus probably, but not to the magnitude that we're having now.
James Martin is chief of the Office of Oil and Gas, the section of the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection charged with overseeing the tens of thousands of oil and gas wells that dot the state. He says what's driving all this development is a combination of technologies, horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing.
Horizontal drilling has been more common in other places than it has here. It's just come into really to West Virginia in the last few years on any kind of with any kind of magnitude. The conventional operations here or vertical wells. West Virginia has a long history of oil and gas development, but it's been of the vertical well nature. Going back to the late 1800s, oil and gas wells have been drilled here, and over the last several decades, some of those operations included hydraulic fracturing, but they didn't include horizontal drilling. Most likely, except for in the last few years.
Here's a simplified look at how the process works. A rig drills down below the deepest layer of underground water, the aquifer. The sides of the well bore are sealed with steel casing and cement to isolate the well from the groundwater. The drilling is then continued down thousands of feet, where a special type of drilling equipment curves the well bore horizontally into the shale formation. After that's filled with casing and perforated, a mixture of sand, water, and chemicals, fracking fluid, is pumped in at high pressure, causing fractures in the shale formation, allowing the gas a pathway to escape. It's a different process that requires a different framework of regulation.
These operations are just much different, and so as we started looking at that, we spent several months looking at what some of the concerns were. We actually came out with a guidance document and basically focusing on water use.
That led to new regulations on things like water withdrawals from the streams and the disposal of wastewater from the fracking process. The West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection began addressing concerns over horizontal drilling and fracking as early as 2008. In August of 2011, Governor Earl Ray Tomblin issued an executive order establishing new rules on water use, site design and engineering, and erosion and sediment control. In a special session that December, the legislature expanded those rules and substantially increased permitting fees. Seeing that the work is done correctly and in an environmentally correct manner is the job of DEP oil and gas inspectors, and that work starts before even a shovel of dirt is turned over.
The permitting stage, we need to come out and review the site before it's permitted. When the construction starts, we need to come out and see that they are following the REC plan.
The REC, or Site Reclamation Plan, actually starts very early in the process.
We're trying to have a gas well location actually reclaimed, not causing any environmental problems before the drill even gets there. We require erosion sediment control be in place during the clearing of the well site as well as during the construction of the site. Another thing that we require is vegetation, either temporary or permanent, during the construction process. We try not to leave any disturbed ground during the drilling and the reclamation process.
Because of the size and complexity of the operation, the drilling rigs are often on the site for months at a time, with state inspections happening throughout the process.
The conventional wells would take maybe 5 days to a week to complete, a very small location size. Now we're spending several months on some of these pads during the drilling process. We want to absolutely be here for the freshwater casing. Then again, we definitely want to be out when they get into their curve, start into their Marcellus shale. They're running their surface freshwater casing, may be here all day, sometimes all night even.
Once the drill rig moves off and the site is producing gas, it takes on a different look. This site in Doddridge County was finished just 4 months ago.
The sites are fairly large, and because of the time it takes to construct these sites, normally the reclamation needs to be staged. The larger sites need better water control We've got to address site drainage off the level site itself, making sure that we've got enough water control to handle any erosion problems. If we see a problem, if Mother Nature creates a problem with excessive rainfall, the main thing is if there's a problem with sediment, that we fix the controls. We may have to rebuild some of the sediment controls after a storm event, but that's what we try to address, is try to be proactive and head off sediment control problems, and end up with a site it's not causing a problem.
When they're getting near finished with the reclamation, we want to be here a lot for any touch-ups we need done, and to make sure it is up to our standards.
Standards that are very protective of the water and overall environment.
These sites now have liners put under this gravel, pads put down. Everything out here that contains any type of fluid has a secondary impoundment around it. And if there is a spill, it's always collected in that secondary confinement. And anything coming up out of the ground cannot touch the ground. It has to be pumped directly into tanks so it can be hauled off and disposed of properly.
And because horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing is more efficient, requiring fewer well bores, the larger site can have an overall smaller footprint.
We may have a 5-acre pad out here for this well. There may be 6 horizontal wells here, which could be equal to from 30 to 50 conventional wells, all confined to one pad with one road going to all of them, instead of 50 roads going through the farmer's field.
Ultimately, it comes down to having the right regulations in place and the resources to ensure that these sites are operating in a safe, environmentally sensitive manner, something James Martin says the state has accomplished.
The issue we had was trying to work within the current framework and apply those requirements to these kind of operations, and that was the challenge. But the new legislation, I think, gets us in a much better position to do that, and it also gives us additional resources to do that, because there's one of the provisions in the legislation is a substantial increase in the permit fees, and that's going to allow us to get some more staff on board, which we really desperately need to be able to better monitor things and to better review permits and do things timely. And so we're going to be in a better position, I think, all the way around.